You can really title this video Going Beyond SR into Sexual Alchemy, turn lead into gold. And to help me delineate this to you gentlemen, I'm going to be referencing the book The Taoist Secrets of Lovemaking and Cultivating Male Sexual Energy by Mantak Chia, a pioneer in this field that we so love. So I'm going to share with you some of my notes, and I'm going to try to make some links here, or I will try make some links here to the scientific sides of things for you skeptics, just to kind of make this a little bit more palatable. So we're going to begin, the title is The Secrets of Semen Retention. The sexual energy that moves in the microcosmic orbit is primordial energy. And the microcosmic orbit is in reference to this diagram here on the left hand side. And I'll be using this to help me explain this particular point as fruitfully as I can. Human life begins with the piercing of an egg by a sperm cell. This is the original act of Kung Fu in the battle of yin and yang. Sexual Kung Fu is the recreation of that act within the male body. Only instead of forming a fetus from a fertilized egg growing inside the womb of a woman, the sperm energy penetrates to higher energy centers inside the male body and gives birth to a man on a spiritual level. I highlighted that because I love the latter point of that description here, and I made reference to how you can interpret this in your own life, and that sexual energy is not just a means to create another life, but more of your own, more life, more quality, more quality in the senses and how you articulate and experience the world through your body. So more life, not just another life. We are really beginning in the, when we start to cultivate alchemy, to understand that there are limitations in which we view this particular energy in terms of the modern world's approach to its utility. But in an occultist practitioner, in a yogi, or somebody who has developed interoception, and we'll get to interoception in just a moment, you understand this has very palpable and tangible impacts on your day-to-day experience of life. It is drawn upwards by the microcosmic channel, where it literally gives man a rebirth, a new life, the confidence of controlling a powerful flow of creative energy, and the satisfaction of a deep sense of harmony. Whenever you are in love with a woman or with life at large, energy is flowing into your microcosmic orbit. And I personally understand and interpret this as a union between the masculine and the feminine. Masculine energy, feminine energy. There are many different ways to experience this. On a physical level, that would be physical union of intercourse. And that's why there's such a grueling feeling when you try and make this union with somebody who you're not connected with on a spiritual level. Anybody who's been in a reciprocal, loving and compassionate relationship will understand that the physical interplay is far superior to that of a one-night stand and promiscuity. I have done the latter. The latter is very immature. It was in my university days. It was not satiating. It was more for my ego than anything else, to tell how my friends what my notch count was, and again, purely superficial, and there's no sense of depths as the physical act would kind of describe. Pardon the crudeness there. So it is the feeling of intense connectedness. That is the union, that is the yoga, that is the Tao, of being centered in the warm flowing current of life. Now, what's the equivalent of this when we don't have a partner? Well, we have a yang and a yin end to this particular circle here. So the yang is kind of the masculine, in which we draw it up towards the masculine center, which is going to be the north point of the body. This is where the pineal sits. This is connection with spirit, with God, with consciousness, with soul, whatever you want to call it. And then you have the yin, the downward phase. If this is the rising of the sun, this is the setting of the sun, or this is the sun and this is the moon here. Now, many of us are unable to unite those two particular disparate sides of our sexual energy because we only know one pathway. It is the very fleeting and finite, and I wouldn't say less important, because you can use this particular tool to create another life, and if you have aspirations for family, that is one utility of that. We know that. Just pleasure, I believe, is really a cheapening of the act compared to what else it can be used for. When we are in full phase of rising and of setting, then we are having almost a inner intercourse with ourselves. This is alchemy, and as it says here, we give birth to another life. It gives us a rebirth, a new life, the confidence of controlling a powerful flow of creative energy and the satisfaction of a deep sense of harmony. So you can achieve that by yourself, which is very, very rare. It's challenging to do because, again, the ubiquity of adult material in our culture makes that very, very challenging for us to kind of unite with spirit and consciousness and develop interoception and spiritual organs. But many individuals will find it when they're in a loving, reciprocal, compassionate relationship with a partner or with their wife. Now, it's crucial that, therefore, we understand before maybe we enter into a reciprocal relationship, which I would call Tantra, the part that I've just described to you there. The inner Tantra, the solo Tantra, the individual Tantra comes at the foundation of the understanding of the microcosmic orbit. Now, this is just one particular model. This is a Taoist model, but there are various different models that you can use to understand this. But we'll keep with the Taoist ones as per the script here. By opening this microcosmic channel up and keeping it clear of physical or mental blockages, it is possible to pump greater amounts of sexual energy up the spine. If this channel is blocked by tension, then during the sexual excitement of lovemaking, the hot sperm energy will seek the quickest alternative escape route and go out the penis. The sexual power is then lost until the body goes through the long and physical taxing process of manufacturing more sperm. So I mentioned this point that one of the most debilitating aspects of frequent, let's say, release is this idea that it's very taxing on your nervous system. And in fact, those individuals that are oversexed typically experience an inhibition of their nervous system. Their reflexes are slower, and their immune system as well. Their immune system will get weak. Most things branch off the nervous system because this is your inner generator, your inner wiring, so to speak. They develop sicknesses, as I said. And all elements that are connected to the nervous system, which is every single organ and muscle innervation, is typically impaired when you're taxing yourself in this regard. So if you find, men find if they go, a week leaving themselves alone, they are sharper between the ears, they are stronger, and they are more, they're more, what would you say, acutely aware and sensitive to their surroundings. The sensitive nervous system actually expands outside the remit of your physical body and into the air around you for those nervous systems that are fully charged. And that's how you start to develop, what people would call extrasensory powers, or siddhis in the yogic term, which are superpowers, sensing people's aura, being, very, very acutely aware on a minutia level. It almost feels like you're a mentalist and you have these extrasensory powers in that way. So the sexual power is then lost until the body goes through the long and physical taxing process of manufacturing more. Some of man's power of magnetic sexual attraction is temporarily lost by the discharge of this energy. So I've mentioned a point here, there's a loss in polarity as well. The sexual energy of a man you can think of as his life force, his energy, the seat of his soul, his testosterone, his drive, his vigor, his zeal. And when you are empty of this, you lose your polarity. You become more, you become less charged. In that way, you don't get you don't get the kind of results of attraction that you would like to see in the antithesis of the masculine, which is the feminine. I mean, the easiest way I can describe it is if the masculine is a white color and the feminine is a black. I'm just trying to use the side here. If the masculine is a white and the feminine is a black, it's like your whiteness, your purity is becoming more dull and more gray, and there's less contrast between the white and the black. But when you begin to leave yourself alone and imbibe that masculine principle, you recognize the difference between the potential for more contrast and therefore more polarity in your life. Now, there are some methods of kundalini and tantric yoga that devise a very powerful flow of energy up the spine to the head using a mantra, breathing techniques, reference to pranayama here, yogic postures and locks to channel the sperm upwards. So you will hear these terms like Mula Bandha, which is the root lock, is the pelvic floor lock, and you have Jala Bandha as well, which is the throat lock. In fact, many postures you'll see breathing in and then forcing the tongue up and back into the third of the palate, and then bringing the chin downwards like this. And that way you lock the energy at Jala Bandha and you force it upwards into the skull to circulate the CSF fluid, the cerebral spinal fluid, into the ventricles where the pineal and the pituitary sits. And that is a more scientific way to kind of understand that. You're creating intracranial pressure with the ions and salts and proteins that flow around in your CSF. I know we can get lost here when it says, sperm energy, sexual energy, and it seems very, very intangible. What you're actually talking about here is the power of your endocrine system. And one of the key components of your endocrine system is the CSF, the cerebral spinal fluid, in which your nervous system sits in. And it's like an insulator. It makes it strong. There's a diffusion or osmosis of proteins, salts and ions into the nervous system, which charge it up. And the seat of that is going to be your pineal and your pituitary, gland, which is ironically the masculine being the pineal and the pituitary, the feminine, or the seat of the soul, the eye of Horus. There are many different ancient and esoteric names when referring to this area. But this is where we want all the energy going, as we can better articulate and cause ourselves to be spiritually directed in where we want to go, manifestation powers increasing, all that is connected to essentially the power of your nervous system, which again I say is outside, its powers are outside the remit of your body also, not just inside. It stretches beyond that. If you imagine an electric field or electromagnetic radiation, you can't see it, there's going to be no wirings in the air, but I'm sat here with so much electrical equipment. You've got Wi-Fi, you've got all these different devices, you've got your phone, you've got cellular. This is something that you can't sense, but nevertheless will have an impact on you, an influence on your behavior. And your body is one of the most powerful devices in this regard. It's electro and it's magnetic. The electro is the nervous system, the magnetic is the cardiovascular or circulatory system, which is kind of like your blood, and then you've got the electricity of your nervous system. So when these two are balanced, the masculine and the feminine, then you get a greater polarity. The orbit, the aura begins to expand more around your body, and that's how you might interpret things like attraction coming into play, because people are in your electromagnetic field. They also have to have a good nervous system as well, otherwise they won't pick up. That's why you hear like attracts like. So if somebody is very spiritually conscious, if a woman is very spiritually conscious and she isn't debilitating her nervous system and circulatory system on degeneracy, promiscuity and other health debilitating habits, then you'll find yourself attracting a very spiritually conscious woman very, very easily. So leaving to circulate the microcosmic orbit or learning, I should say, is an important step to sealing this energy within the body so it will circulate and revitalize all the parts of the mind and the body. So it's just a little bit more specific there. Otherwise, when intense pressure builds in the head, much of it escapes out of the eyes, ears, nose and mouth. Now, again, I know this can sound very, very confusing, but the idea is your electrical energy is actually stored in your gut here. So just want to make sure you guys can see this. So when you're breathing in and the electrical current is coming up into the ventricles in the brain, what's also happening is you're bringing through the ganglia, which are nerve clusters, big like spider web diagrams that wrap around your endocrine system. The safest place to store this energy is in your lower dantian, which is here. So a problem that I used to have was a lot of headaches, migraines, pressure, sickness, nausea, because I would bring it all the way up to the crown, but I would leave it in the crown. What you need to do is you need to, with intention, and I'll show you how to do this in a moment, bring it back down. So this is the moon phase, or the setting phase, down the mouth, through the chest, and into the belly here, and that is where it is stored to be used, to be innovated at latter times. So it's like your compounding power in this way. The easiest way to open the microcosmic energy channel is by simply sitting in meditation for a few minutes each morning and relaxing, and allowing your energy to automatically complete the loop circuit around your mind. So just make sure you can see that. Now, I'll be more specific here because, again, I don't want this to be too, what would you say, vague and surface level. I want to speak specifically, especially about innovation and interoception. So start in the eyes and mentally circulate the energy as it goes down the front through your tongue, throat, chest, and navel, and then up the tailbone and the spine and to your head. So at first it will feel like nothing is happening, but eventually the current will begin to feel warm, and in some places, as it loops around. The key is just to relax, to bring your mind directly into the part of the loop being focused on. Now, the word I mentioned here, and I referred to it before, this is nervous innovation, ER, innervating. You're innovating the nerves. And the easiest way to think about this is that this isn't visualization, by the way, because you're focusing on different parts of the body and trying to innovate the nerves around it. And the easiest example I can give you is if you just sit with me now, right? If you just sit with me now and look at your hand, and if you bring all your attention to your pinky, right? Bring all of your attention to your pinky. You can use your eyes, the sensory organs, just to help you here. Bring your attention to the pinky, and I want you to try and concentrate and to imagine how the inside of your pinky would feel. Bringing all the attention into that pinky. Just concentrate. And what you notice here is there's a lot more consciousness in that area. You never notice the subtleties of the blood flow, of the temperature, of the feeling inside your pinky when you weren't bringing your mind and your consciousness to that area. And that is because you're innovating the nerves in that area. The same thing is happening when you're doing this particular practice. And I think one of the reasons I know how to do this so well is because when I was learning how to lucid dream and astral project, one of the techniques is to imagine, when you're lying flat, is imagine picking up your hand and grabbing a rope and pulling your body, your astral body, out of your physical body. So the idea is that it's like you're going through the neural pattern, the movement in your mind of innovating, your bicep to lift up your hand, your shoulder, your arm, but you're not physically doing it. So you have all this nervous and electrical energy running through your arm, but you're not actually moving it. That's innovation. It's the nerves that move the muscle. The muscle doesn't contract in and of itself. It's the electricity in your body that does it. And in the same way, you've got more consciousness of your skeletal muscles, like your biceps, your shoulders, your chest, your back, but there's still the same connections with your organs. And your endocrine system are just the scientific language we use when we refer to things like chakras, like the root chakra, like the throat chakra, like the pituitary, the third eye chakra. So it's just about innovating. This is the easiest way and the most scientific way I can explain it. So I hope you're understanding this. So it's very different from visualization, an image inside your head, or what part of your body looks like, or as a feeling. Do not use your mind as if it was a TV, picturing it. Experience the actual chi flow. Relax and let your mind flow with the chi in the body along a natural current to any desired point. Now, there's a couple of bits of marketing from Mantak here. I'm just going to skip over that. Experience has shown that the sexual kung fu practices taught in this chapter were quickly and effortlessly mastered by students who first studied the microcosmic orbit and opened this channel of energy. So progress to the higher levels of transforming sexual energy without first learning the microcosmic orbit is difficult. Many people may already be open in these channels and simply need to be told where the energy flows in order to do it. So I mentioned this word a couple of times, interoception, and it's referencing people who have an acute sensitivity to how to innervate their nerves already. These will be individuals who have meditated for a very, very long time. It's about, Rudolf Steiner mentioned this term, spiritual organs. The idea in this case is, like you have mastery of your skeletal muscle, similarly you want to kind of have mastery over the nerve plexuses around your gut, your heart, your throat, your third eye, crown, and your genital region. And in that way, you're just moving that electrical energy from the pelvic floor into the gut, into the heart, into the throat. So this is the scientific language you use to make it more comprehensible, and how I understood this a little bit better. Others get it by simply being very, very relaxed and living close to nature. The benefits of the microcosmic orbit extend beyond the facilitating the flow of sexual energy and include the prevention of aging and healing of many illnesses ranging from blood pressure, insomnia, headaches, arthritis. So it's nervous system health. And you can kind of see this diagram here on the right hand side is the esoteric language or esoteric, vernacular that I have that mirrors the scientific. So interesting words, it's sperm, palace, navel, solar plexus center, heart plexus, throat center, mid-eye. All of these areas in your body are almost like wrapped and hugged by a cluster of nerves. By a huge, it's like a crazy tree that is wrapping around them. And all we have to do is bring attention to the roots of our inner tree. You can think of the nervous system as the life tree in us, and just concentrating, bringing our attention there, noticing tension when you go on long periods of SR and going, well, how do I relieve this tension without going to those adult sites? Well, I can relieve this tension by using pranayama, which is the mechanism in which we can move bioelectrical energy up the pelvic plexus into the gut plexus, into the heart plexus, into the throat plexus, into the mid-eyebrow plexus, and then back down into the gut plexus where it will be stored. So gentlemen, I hope I described that in a way that was hopefully a little bit more digestible and less esoteric. If you would like me to continue the reading of Taoist Secrets of Lovemaking and Cultivating Sexual Energy by Mantak Chia, you can leave me a comment below. These aren't theories, these are facts. Speak soon.